Hi there and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to take you on a little behind the scenes of a light painting workshop that I am running in my Narry Warren studio. It's fully booked, but if you did want to do it and you missed out, reach out to me because I will be doing another one in November. So if you want to grab a spot in that, just let me know. But anyway, back to today. So I've got two stations set up and I'm going to take you on a bit of a walk around in a minute. But I just wanted to go through just some basic stuff. So I have got, both stations are the same. I've got some black jersey fabric set up on a backdrop stand, and I've got some timber crates. There's also on the other one an old timber stool. You'll see that in a minute. And I've got a whole heap of stuff set up for doing some fabulous light painting with still life. So we've got lots of old tools and oil cans. I've got some antlers, all sorts of things. So we will be having a lot of fun in both classes on Saturday. So what you'll need is you'll need a camera and a tripod, and I'm using both of mine to record this. You'll also need something along the lines of a cordless remote trigger. Now I've got the Pixel Pro and I just love them. I think they're fabulous. I've been using these for years and I have no idea how old this one is. This one's the 283 TX, but it's probably not even available. So you have that, and then you have the receiver that you put on top of your camera. So it's a really good idea to do that because you will be using most probably bulb mode for this sort of thing. So you can do 30 seconds or 20 seconds on your camera using a 2-second timer so that there's no camera shake. If you want to go longer than 30 seconds, you need to go into bulb mode. And to be honest, when you are shooting 45 seconds to a minute or even longer, that's when everything becomes really textured and it looks more painterly. So if you take a 5-second photo or a 10-second photo, it's not going to give you the same results as a 1-minute exposure. So using a remote is handy. Now I've got all the lights on at the moment, including the big studio light, but when I turn them all off, there's still a little bit of ambient light sneaking in around the doors and stuff like that. I have a board that I put over the window to try and cut down the light there, but I still can't get rid of all of it. And when your eyes adjust, you realise there's actually quite a bit of light in here. So I start using things like neutral density filters and things like that. So this is an ND6, and as you can see, it's quite dark. I've also got ND10s and things like that. So I've got quite a few different ones that people can have a play with, but that allows you to get a longer exposure because it closes down the light coming into your camera. So that's why they're really handy. Now, it really doesn't matter what you like paint. You don't have to have a black background. I just find it's easier. You could have a coloured background. You could use a rustic wall or something like that. It doesn't really matter. I just find that the black is just easy, and there's no shine on it whatsoever. You want no shine because anything that the light hits is going to bounce back. So you don't want that. Speaking of lights, what do I use? So there's a couple of different options that you can go to. This is one that I used to use for a very long time, and they're cheap and nasty, and it's just a little pen light that does work eventually, and it's not very strong at all. The one thing, oh, this one's fallen apart. The one thing I do like on these is they've got an extendable arm when they're not falling apart. Oh, dear me. Like I said, these are cheap and nasty. You could probably get something similar to this on Temu or Wish or whatever. I used to get them just from the local hardware store. The only thing I found with these is that they take like 4 pen batteries. So this torch was only like $12 when I bought them, but it cost me like $15 or $16 for the battery. So it was actually cheaper to keep going and buying torches. So I've got a whole heap of them, most of them with dead batteries. But if you want something cheap, you can do that. You can get rechargeable ones, I believe somebody said on Temu. Go check it out. I don't know how good they are. Now, this is what I generally use all the time. This is the Iris by, well, mine says Hobo Light, but they're by Harlow these days. And this is a beautiful light. And if I turn it down, you just turn it down. It's just by colour. So you can have sort of whatever you want. Now, I can actually open or close the iris. And that's where this is brilliant. So I can close the iris right down. I can put a little diffusion dome on it if I want to. I can change the strength or the intensity of the light going up or down. And I can open or close the iris. And this is why this is called the iris light. It's not very strong. I think it's like 5 watts or it might be 8 watts. I'd have to have a look in the specs. But that's what I usually use. And it's a good size because it fits in your hand and you can do some light painting with that. So we've got the camera, the filters, the light, the remote, and the setup. Now, different things work really, really well. Fruit and vintage worn timber or rusty metal items work brilliantly for light painting. So I've got some little bits of paper that have been ripped up and tied together and just rolled up, tied together. I've got some old corbels and I have some fruit. So these are artichokes. Linen and cotton and muslin work really well. Beautiful fibre that allows you to capture the shape and the folds, the shadows and all the rest of it work really, really well. So let's go and have a little look at the setups, and then I'm going to record myself hopefully doing a light painting, and then I'll do one and show you what happened when I did it, if that makes sense. So give me a tick and let's go have a look. Okay, so this is my setup here. So I've got a vintage timber box here. I've got my black fabric in the background. I've got my timber corbel here. I've got some artichokes. I've got some blue fabric and these little scrolls. So I want to catch the edge of the timber. Now, if you want this to be, so I've just got it flipped over so the opening's underneath. But if you flip it over the other way and shoot basically on the top of it, you can have that strip of timber along there and blackness inside. So that works really well as well. So let's go and have a look at the other setup that I have. So this is my other setup. So as I said, I've got a vintage stool. If I just zoom out so you can have a little look at what I've got. So I've got a vintage stool. I've got a corbel here. So this is a slightly different one. And I have some lemons. So it looks really, really good, and I just want to zoom in and just capture from sort of about here up. I don't want everything in the background. So that's the setup that I'm going to use. So let's go and have a little look at how I do it. Okay, so I've turned everything but the video lights off, and I'm hoping this will still work. So I have got my iris, and I've currently got it, I'm going to put it on 100% just so you can see it in the video. So what I'm going to do, this is the dome diffusion actually spreads the light out a little more. So what I want to do is I want it to come in quite close, and I'm just going to paint the areas that I want. Now, normally I wouldn't be wearing a white jumper. I would be wearing all black. And I would just be coming through and painting that in like so. Let's zoom out just a little bit. So I could come in and I can do, you know, on top, from the side. You don't want to just sit here and light from the front. You don't want to do that because it just looks flat and horrible. You want to paint in the highlights that you want on the fabric, the corbel, the fruit, everything else. Now, if I was using, turn that off for a minute. If I was using the torch, it's the same thing. It's a much softer light. It's probably going flat and coming in and paint all that in as well. So that's it. So I'll show you what I captured. I'll turn everything off and do this properly, because if I record this without the video light, you probably can't see anything. I will share with you some of the images. Now, This is what happens when things go wrong. If you are spending too much time in one spot or you're not moving fast enough, you're going to get these horrible white lines. Now, even I did it, so I haven't actually done any light painting for a little while, and I was pretty tired after setting up the studio, so it probably wasn't as fresh as I could be, and some of the images were a little bit hit and miss. So that's what happens when things can go wrong if you're too slow. Even just a little bit like this, which can be removed, but can also be a sign that you probably aren't moving quick enough. If things are really flat and you've got a hot spot like this, so you've got a little bit of light here and here, that means that you're probably too quick and not covering enough of your space. So this is probably what you were looking for, and I can come in and I will do a video on how to edit that, but I just wanted to come in and show you what the images look like when it was too fast or too slow, or even if it's too dark. So I probably needed to turn my light up, or I could adjust my ISO and things like that. So I ended up on this one, I'm on ISO 100 and on F9, and this was just 20 seconds just to get it out. I would probably be better off doing something a little bit longer than that. But that just sort of helped me get through 20 seconds of painting it. And it's not bad. It's probably not the greatest thing I've ever done, but it's not too bad. But I will come back in and edit that. But I just wanted to show you those images. So the other thing I wanted to have a chat to you about before I finish this video is this book. Now, this is a hard copy version that I did of my light painting basics book, and I printed that more for my own benefit so I can take this to camera club presentations and things like that. But you can buy a digital copy of this on my website. So this goes through, I'm hoping I can sort of show you everything. So there's 20 pages. There's a little bit of an introduction. It goes through what light painting is, your camera gear that you need, why those particular tools matter. I also go through and talk about the iris a little bit and the ND filters, and just a simple starting point checklist. So I list all that off. So you want to go at least sort of 30 to 40 seconds, but it just depends on how dark you want it or how dark you can get it to how long your bulb mode is. Then just some basics about using it, some tips about building your light painting scene, and some just things, lighting, getting your focus point, where to paint your light on a particular thing. So it actually gives you a breakdown of where I painted it on this particular image. Then it goes through white balance, post-processing, and some common fixes and problems and things like that. So that's all in the book. You can get it online as a digital PDF, so you can have it on your computer, your phone, your iPad, whatever. Handy reference for if you're out and about shooting and you're just not sure on something, then everything's there. It's only 20 pages long, I think it is, and it's a great book to have. I've spent a huge amount of time over the last 12 months rewriting so many of my ebooks, and this one is, instead of just being companion notes for the workshop, it's now a guide from start to finish on doing your own light painting. Of course, there's also a self-paced online class where I run through a lot of this as well, and I'll put the links for both of those below.